Hey, oh, hey, everybody! It's me, good buddy Matt D. Pay no attention to the pirate hat because today we're going to be inking a caveman, not a pirate. Again, I just like the hat. But yeah, we're going to be inking caveman. So let's get to work.
Alrighty, let's do it. To it. Art-wise, so first thing I'll have you all notice is just notice how tight these pencils are, or for me, how tight they are. And especially much tighter than the Shambling Mound pencils I tried to pass off to y'all last week. Now I do. I am an artist that often likes to kind of come up with details and more details on the fly, generally when I'm working. So normally I do much looser pencils, but hey man, I learned my lesson. And a fun fact, lessons are things that have to be learned. And I learned my lesson, and my lesson this time was, if I'm going to hang out and draw with friends or in a more social setting, personally, I'm the kind of artist that needs a lot of that pre-thought thinking work. I need to have answered all those questions before I get in there. It's like some people can, artists, and God bless them, because I can't do it. They could just be talking to you and be coming up with a caveman all on the fly, and it's no big deal. I am one. I personally, I cannot do that. I can ink pretty good. I can solve a lot of these kind of lower level art problems and do something at the same time, but to be actually creative, to create things literally off the top of my head, answering these hard questions, illustrative questions, what is caveman, what is monster, how do I, really all the questions I'm answering here are, how do I pull this out from that, right? How do I make pleasing patterns of black and white? Which are much, for me, lower level art problems. Everyone kind of approaches are different. Dude, if that's hard for you and you can just come up with monsters off, you know what I'm saying? There is no shame in the art game. It really is knowing yourself, knowing an acceptance of limitations. Art is often an acceptance of limitations, knowing what you can and can't do, and kind of working around all of those problems, working around your personal problems. Art is about working around your personal problems, because I want to hang out and draw with my friends in a Zoom style art meeting, kind of like I mentioned in the Shambling Mound. I'm talking to my buddies again, off in another camera, far off in a far land. I am talking about Ron Jeremy and other weird pop culture phenomena. I don't know why I said Ron Jeremy. That was just totally off the fly. I could have said I was about to say Star Wars and was like, can't say Star Wars. I'll say Ron Jeremy. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was thinking of Ron Perlman. I was definitely thinking Hellboy. Anyway, I'm talking about all this other kind of pop culture nonsense. So I can really only do this right here. Acceptance of limitations, understanding where you're at. So when I was penciling this, when I was pre-thinking all of these kind of heavier ideas, again, my first thought is, what is caveman, right? Again, without going too into the science of it, because I just want to have some fun. I'm not doing some drawings for National Geographic. Otherwise, I'd be doing more research. This is kind of more for fun. What is a caveman? My answer seemed to be that a caveman is sort of like a wrestler. A sort of a wrestler, sort of a little bit of a Captain Caveman, and a little bit of like a natural history museum, I think. Some museum that I was in New York, Field Museum, or with those things where they have all those dioramas. Anyway, they have a diorama of like a bunch of cave people like a husband and maybe his wife. I don't know if cave people get married. A cave family, maybe some kids, and I think they were run from a saber-toothed tiger. It is on my Instagram, all the way at the bottom. Scroll down and look for it if that's the kind of maniac you are. But needless to say, it just made a profound impact on me. It's like just an image, right? I can't even explain it, but I think on this diorama from this museum of cave people, terrified. And I took a photo of it, but I didn't even take a photo of, I think it's a saber-tooth tiger, but just their kind of like scared reaction. I don't know, just really stuck out in my head. But the diorama has them much more like a primate, much more closer to apparently our monkey roots. Where I'm thinking, again, because these are drawings more for Dungeons and Dragons, okay, so in the monster manual, there's a whole section for humans as a monster. But what it does is it's really more for like how you might play like NPCs, right? So it has like things on like farmers and serfs, which I guess might also be a farmer, and merchants and knights and all these other kind of like the sailors, like things like jobs that a person might have in the world of D&D. But then it also kind of throws in some like wild cards, like a caveman. And not putting caveman in its own monster section, by putting it clearly under human, I felt like I should go much more human with it. So my ideas are human, Captain Caveman, which ergo Harry, and professional wrestlers. Thus the kind of tiger skin, I don't know, dress. What do you want to call that? Caveman dress. And apparently, and Fred Flintstone. Apparently, that's a popular thing that people know about too. I ate many of his chewable vitamins, but those are all the kind of things that are kind of batting around in my head. So when I'm going into it, well, this is what you get. And also, fun fact, literally, I was so kind of stuck on the whole wrestler bit for a while that I actually drew boots on him. Like the skinny feet are so you get those cool kind of wrestler boots, and I drew them all, inked them in actually. And then was just like, wait, a caveman wouldn't have wrestler boots? That's preposterous. But I had to like white out like all of this stuff. Anyway, games super crazy and super obtuse. Everything I'm talking about, I'm sure you're listening to me right now and just being like, yo, Matt, what kind of crazy ass jazz drummer are you right now? And you have just drummed me off into some sort of wild ass planet with that crazy rhythm beat. To which my answer is all that kind of weird abstract thinking that I just kind of laid down on you is kind of all the abstract thinking I need to do to get into a drawing or figure a drawing out. Which is to say that I can't do that and I can't figure out a drawing and talk to you at the same time, right? Because if I'm talking to you, I'm going to be talking to you about all this crazy stuff, and I can't necessarily take those ideas and translate. I can't take those ideas from the ether and put them out on paper if I'm talking them out loud. I literally need to focus and get all those ideas out on the paper. Does that make sense? Probably not. Anyway, with those ideas in mind, I can only think that, man, cavemen need to be hairy. Hairy. So a lot of what you're seeing is just adding hair and more hair. And now I've got to add more arm hair and big old shoulder hair. Like, just think the hairiest, nastiest, sweatiest football dude. You know, it's like, that's why it's like, I'll give him a kind of a caveman beard. I don't know if cavemen have beards, but this one does, because again, I'm kind of going more for that angry wrestler. And really what excess brain power I do have, this the bare bones inking stuff, is to kind of push that narrative of angry wrestler and just really nail in his Captain Caveman from the cave scream, which you can really only pretty much get through like line and tone, right? So and that takes up a lot of your brain power, and right, and as you can see right here, like I'm just trying to add like a little bit more pattern to kind of pull stuff out and push stuff back, you know, like some dots pattern to kind of indicate like kind of rock, like a different kind of, you know, thing. But what really want to point out to you, all of you, is again, because I'm just slightly distracted this whole time, but I've created the most epic tangent from the rock that's just behind his right foot and just like in front of the cave and kind of like behind his forearm. The way the rock curves, I have literally hit the indentation of his forearm and it comes out the other side on the top of his knuckle. It is a double tangent. I couldn't have gone tangentier. For that reason, I actually, again, kind of felt like I had to go in and cheat and use that pencil like I do. And kind of even off camera, much later, I kind of had to chisel in on the bottom of that rock with a whiteout just so I could separate it just a little. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Tangents are the worst. Anyway, as you could, again, pencil, got to pull you out. And yeah, really, right now it's, cavemen are hairy. It's got to add a little bit more of that extra hair, even if it's kind of detail, wood hair. And then, yeah, kind of wrapping it up now, and there you go. That's it. How great is this? Is a good one. I like it. Oh, woof. There it is. Another great drawing. This time we did the old caveman. Obviously, you can't do a caveman because you can't draw at ×8 speed, but hopefully you learned a little thing or two when you go out in your own life and do your own drawings. Much love to all of you, and hopefully I see you all next week. Woof woof. Wait, you want me to do what now? To the who? That doesn't even make any sense. Nothing's working. I'm hungry. It's way too hot in here. Can we get some AC? You know what? I can't work under these conditions. This is preposterous. I'm going to my trailer.